Good morning and welcome to another edition of Whipsarecracking's weekend racing review show. It was Derby Day yesterday at Flemington, and we're here to discuss that, and a number of other Group 1 races were run yesterday in the lead up to Tuesday's Melbourne Cup. Unfortunately we have a member missing tonight in our form analyst, Matthew Zammit, so I think Suman will probably enlighten us into why he's not available today.
Matt sends his apologies. He attended the sleazeball a couple of weeks ago, and he's come off a little bit worse for wear. He's recovering in RPA, so best wishes to Matt, and hopefully he'll be back next week.
Yeah, mate, that race will go away soon, there's no doubt about it. But just keep on taking those antibiotics. So we'll start off with the running of the Derby yesterday, mate. It was an upset result, no doubt, with Rebel Raider winning at 100 to 1.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, big form reversal for that horse. Previously placed in the Geelong Derby trial, and had looked a fairly moderate run in that race.
It was, mate.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm sure it was, but yeah.
5 lengths behind the Tiger.
Yeah,
my Scots Grey gave it a start and a beating that day.
Yeah, just they did put the blinkers on for the first time, and that obviously sharpened the horse up a little bit, but it's still a huge form reversal. A horse who has a fairly stout pedigree, being by Reset. Having said that, his dam Pitchalene was pretty sharp. She was quite a good sprinter miler.
Oh, that's exactly right.
Malcolm Johnson trained her. He was trained in Sydney. That
yeah,
horse.
I think you're right, actually. You're right.
Yeah. To hear mare, and actually there's a double cross of Sir Tristram in this horse, which it's quite far back, but yeah, interesting, because it's not something that's worked particularly well in the past, but it has worked with this fella. I must admit I gave Reset a caning a couple of weeks ago, and of course he now throws a Derby winner, so it makes me look like a mug. But I still have my own opinions of the horse, and it's not one
everyone's capable of producing a nice horse. I mean,
I think that proves it, really. But no, look, there's probably a niche there for Reset to be a sire of stayers. Hopefully, we need that.
We do need that.
And if he was, I'd be very happy. I just don't think he's a very commercial, produces commercial yearlings, and as a commercial seller, that's part of my motivation. With regards to yesterday's race, I guess the big talking point, really, rather than the winner, was DERBY G1 getting beaten. Now, Arvo, I must take you to task a little bit, because whilst I've been a huge fan of DERBY G1 as well, you did claim last week that he was the best horse we've seen since Tulloch.
I didn't say that.
And I think given that
even Tulloch got beat.
given that kind of a rap, best horse since Tulloch, I think that we need to have an explanation to his performance yesterday.
Yeah, I really can't come up with one, mate. Anyone who thinks that the horse didn't run 2,500 metres doesn't know a lot about racing, I feel. It's not the case that he didn't run the distance, because if you take, let's just say, Rebel Raider wasn't accepted in the race, or he was a scratching, everyone would be coming up with superlatives on how wonderful this horse is and how he won yesterday's Derby by 2 or 3 lengths, because you take the winner out, he's Blisterfield, right?
Yes.
Now, so therefore, the distance isn't an issue. To me, the issue is how Rebel Raider was able to win the race, but not only win the race, but he sprinted away. Like they made the run at the top of the straight, side by side, and as a matter of fact, Claire Lindott
Pushed him out of the way.
Pushed him out of the way to get it right. That's how well it was going.
Yeah.
And then he sprinted. I go back. Now, this horse ran in the Champagne Stakes as a 2-year-old at Randwick and was beaten less than 3 lengths behind the Samantha Miss.
Yeah.
Now, on the back of that, and previously he was a Group 3 winner of the size Produce at Morphettville.
He's clearly shown them a lot of ability at home from day one.
He has, but this campaign, on a number of occasions, I've tipped him in Adelaide on the back of those performances behind Samantha Miss and as a 2-year-old. And I tipped him on a number of occasions in Adelaide, and he just kept on getting beaten in moderate races, and I just thought to myself, well, maybe he's not as good as what I thought he was, or what he could be. He just kept on getting beaten.
Maybe what it is that they identified that they wanted to run him in the Derby this campaign. That was going to be his grand final. He's trained by a very good trainer in Leon McDonald, and maybe that's contributed to his defeats, because they were setting him for the distance race, and maybe it's taken a bit of his sharpness away from him. Having said that, his performance in the Geelong Derby trial really
He got beat by the Tiger.
It was disappointing.
The Tiger was beaten 50 lengths yesterday. Well, not maybe 50.
It does put a bit of a shadow over the race. We have to wait and see whether or not this form comes through. Look, on yesterday's result, he won clear and fair and square.
Decisive.
Yeah.
He was very good. He was outstanding, and like you said, there was a gear change with the blinkers, but it looked to me more like they strapped a rocket to his ass, because that's I just can't understand the form reversal with this horse. It's just like, it's not as if he was being beaten like Carnero, for instance. He was racing against all the group quality horses leading into this race and running seconds and thirds, like right off just behind him. And you think, okay, it took the 2,500 metres of the race for him to actually show us that he was right there on the mark previously, and the 2,500 metres really emphasised his staying ability. This horse was getting beaten in moderate races, like just really. I just can't see it.
That's evidenced by his price yesterday. I mean, you don't start a race like that when it was $100.
100 to 1 for the
100 to 1. You don't start that unless there's a pretty valid reason. So, but look,
so it was amazing. It was an amazing turn.
Let's hope.
Besides Grazi, our cameraman and editor, I don't know anyone who backed this horse.
Yeah, I think apart from the connections, there wasn't too many. But having said that, I think that let's hope that this horse does.
I hope he does. I hope he does. We need
stayers. And I thought his run and the third horse, Preeminence. Now, Preeminence for me, last start he led and won quite well. He's a bad mannered horse. He's got a few tricks at the barriers. He doesn't jump well. I believe he's been gelded as a result of yesterday's performance, so missing the start again. Now, he was ridden upside down from the previous start. He made up more ground than anyone else, and it was quite hard to make up ground yesterday. So I think his run was full of merit, and he's a horse that I will be watching closely next campaign, because I think he's got a lot of upside.
Look, I still think, going back on Who Begot You, I still think he's going to be our star racehorse over the next 12 months.
Yeah.
I really think he'll develop into an outstanding racehorse. He really is. I don't think the defeat of the Derby is a black mark against the horse. He's done it all his campaign. I mean, he's been certainly outstanding.
But what do you think about 3-year-olds running? I know they've had this distance from day dot, and I know that I'm really loath to bring distances back in races.
So am I.
I'm loath to do it. However, it's spring 3-year-olds. You're just finding that a lot of the time the best horse is not winning, and they find it a little bit beyond them to run that distance at that time. Now in Europe,
just come out of their 2-year-old season.
Yeah, because we're finding over in the UK and in Europe, in France, they've got their Derby. They've reduced their Derby to 2,000 metres, and theirs was always technically in the autumn of their year.
That's right.
We've got ours in the spring. Now, do you think that a distance drop to say 2,000 metres would be a more sensible move?
I agree. And I don't want, like yourself, I want, I've been an advocate of staying horses and staying breeds and to breed more towards stayers. But this early in their 3-year-old career, it doesn't do them any good, does it?
No.
And this is what the discussion we had earlier, in reference to Who Begot You, whether or not it should be running the Cox Plate or the Derby, as a protecting the horse. We felt that he may derive more harm from running over 2,500 metres than running over 2,000 with 48 kilos on his back.
And that was proven.
Well, yeah, he was defeated. Yeah. And the way the Cox Plate was run and the dawdling pace, that may have not suited him. However, it wouldn't have. I think yesterday's race would have taken more harm than good.
I agree, and I just think that it's something that we need to look at. Perhaps bringing the race back to 2,000 metres. I think you'll find the best horse wins it every year if you do that.
And in the autumn we have the AJC Derby anyway. We've got the South Australian Derby. We've got the Queensland Derby.
And I tell you also,
and they're much better for the 3-year-old.
The 2,500 metre start at Flemington is about the worst start in Australia.
Oh, it is a bad start.
So
there's a rush to the first.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anyway, I think enough thoughts.
I think we've covered the race enough. Thanks for that.